but we were just dancing some hip hop, and before you were also giving us some tasters of how to dance to fast blues song and a slow contemporary and a hip hop song. So
Yeah.
let's watch the video of you and Matleena dancing, and you can comment a little bit of what you had in mind when you're dancing to this kind of songs.
Yeah, so I mean, the general idea that we wanted to get across to the students was that the diversity that we have in West Coast swing is really something that can be shown and danced in rather simple ways, and that a lot of it comes down to really feeling the mood of the music and the mood of the song. So those little stylistic choices we take can be rather subtle and still sort of change our style of the dance. Like, we all have our own way of dancing, right? Like, my body is going to work differently from your body, and it all really depends on how we move and what we look like, how we dress, all that kind of stuff. But within that, we should still be able to show the different styles of music genres that we dance to in our dance, and that was kind of like the main message of that class.
It was a good class. I'm gonna press play here, and in 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's do it again. I'll put the sound on, and 3, 2, 1, go. So this is hip hop musicality here.
Exactly. So you see that the posture. Oh wait, is that coming?
Okay, I'll stop it for the hip hop.
Yeah.
And
so hip hop, you should really find that groove of the song. I mean, hip hop is not hip hop all the time. There's different ways of dancing hip hop, and there's different styles of hip hop music. But a common thing when we're talking about this kind of, we're dancing to the candy shop. When we're talking about this kind of music, is that we want to show that pulse of the music. I go doom doom cha, doom doom cha, and you sort of want to see that pulse in the chest. We tend to be more in our knees. We have bent knees. It's not about having the perfect dancer's posture, like a ballet or ballroom posture. You don't want to show those nice lines. You want to sort of get down and dirty and show that you can groove to that beat. And that's what hip hop really should be about. I mean, you still do partner dance, so it's still West Coast swing. So those rules of West Coast swing still apply, but you sort of show a bit more rhythmical movements, and try to get that gangster vibe, you know. That makes sense.
I think it took a little encouragement from you guys for us Finnish dancers today to get that gangster out of us, but by piecing it to the little more like a mental things, we actually managed to cultivate some
yeah, I guess so. I don't think that this is something specifically Finnish. I would say that all communities have this let's call it problem of being comfortable with ways of moving we might not be used to. And I like to encourage every dancer to get out of that comfort zone and really try to do new things, new ways of moving, exploring new ways of movement with your body. In the end, it's gonna open up new windows of opportunity and to sort of broaden your skill set. But honestly, I think it worked out quite well. I mean, it looked the way it should look, and there was quite a big contrast to the other dance styles we did that day. So I think it worked out quite well.
I sometimes wonder when there's guys who were maybe these forefathers for us contemporary West Coast swing dancers, did they have any idea that people would be dancing it to songs like this? I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but
Probably not, obviously. I mean, if we think about the future, we don't know how West Coast Swing is going to evolve. We don't know what kind of songs we'll be dancing to in 20 years. And we don't really know what this, or I at least don't know what songs are going to sound like in 20 years. So I think this is one of the really cool aspects of West Coast Swing, that it is constantly evolving. And unlike many other dance styles that sort of stick to their original music and to that original way of dancing it, like it was 80 years ago, 100 years ago, who knows. Whereas West Coast Swing sort of stays true to its roots, but upon that, there is so much to explore, and such a diversity of how you can dance West Coast Swing, and like having that ability to take in all those musical styles, so much different music that we play in West Coast Swing, and to dance to all that kind of stuff. I mean, this is great. This is very unique to that dance, I'd say, in that way. I personally haven't really seen a dance style that has so many possibilities when it comes to musicality. And did they know? No, probably not. And I think there are some people who embrace it. Others are like, oh, we should go back to more old school West Coast Swing. I know. I always like open-minded people who try out new stuff, and I'm curious how West Coast Swing is going to evolve in the future.
have you noticed the zouk elements in West Coast Swing? This is something that I run up to when browsing the internet, basically. That this Brazilian zouk dance is already crossing with West Coast Swing.
Yeah, I personally feel like it is getting less again. There was a time where that crossover was very present. I think it is nice to see other dance styles being mixed into West Coast Swing, just as much as I like West Coast Swing principles mixed into other dance styles. I think that we can learn a lot from each other, and we can profit and benefit from other dance styles. However, in my opinion, it should still stay true to the, let's call it, rules of West Coast Swing. So, I wouldn't want to go away from the swing content, the stretch, the triple steps, the triple rhythms, everything that makes West Coast Swing. But within that, hell yeah, let's take the zouk things in there. It's interesting though, like zouk has a very different feel. When you dance zouk, it feels very different from West Coast Swing. Now, I'm not much of a zouk dancer, but I had the opportunity to have some experience with that dance, and what they do and the way they lead those things that we also do in West Coast Swing, all those wavy things and hell knows what, they do it differently and it feels different. So if I were to lead a zouk dancer, the same things we do in West Coast Swing and they do in zouk, but I would lead it in a West Coast Swingish way, it would kind of feel maybe even weird for them. So there's a little bit of a difference, and I think this is fine. So we sort of really took that thing and placed it into our dance, and it's not disruptive, so it works well.
Interesting. I'm gonna restart the video from the beginning so we get the same song again, just for technical reasons. But now let's go over to the slow contemporary, which is in the middle.
Yeah.
And then last time we do it for the fast swing also. So I'm starting the video on 3, 2, 1. For me, this was the hardest. What are you focusing on here?
So we did that right after dancing to the hip hop song. And for me, it's that quick switch in the mindset. So you stop being that gangster leader and become that floaty, slow contemporary leader. So you start working more with longer lines, a lot of deceleration. So a lot of contrast in terms of acceleration, deceleration, more stretchiness, giving the whole dance a more stretchy look, showing beautiful lines, showing more arm stylings as a leader and as a follower, exactly using that arm to complement the movement and to sort of give that all-around package of an elegant and sometimes maybe experimental-looking dance. I personally like to have a very floaty look in this kind of songs, so I can put some accents in it here and there and sort of break that flow and go some different direction, coming back to that flow. Slow weight transfer. I think that slow dancing is really hard because you have to have a good balance. And you have to maintain that balance together with your partner, so you can't, pull the other one off their feet. Then you have so much time when we're talking about slow contemporary. You have so much time between the beats in the music, so much space to fill, and you really need some sort of movement quality to fill that time. You can't just do one step and then nothing happens, and then on the next beat, the next step happens, and between nothing. So you have to feel that time from one beat to another beat. And I think this requires a pretty high dancing skill.
By the way, how is it dancing with, for example, I think you and Matleena coached together for the first time here and danced together. Have you danced before together in any event? Do you remember? Yeah.
No, not that I remember anyway.
So basically you are dancing these multiple different songs with somebody who you haven't danced previously. I think this is where the improvisation and playfulness and this language of West Coast swing really shines. Because I heard from Matleena that you guys haven't coached before, and then I don't think people knew that you hadn't coached or hadn't danced before. It was like these guys are doing their part and looking like they're like a dance couple or this coaching couple. And
well, I'm happy if that was the impression that came across. Honestly, I think you can't have that vibe with everybody. You can try, but there might just be some people who you don't match with very well, and that's okay. But in most cases, I mean, we speak that common language of West Coast swing. So whatever we dance, we still dance West Coast swing. We still know the mechanics of West Coast swing, how the connection is supposed to work. And even though there are different approaches and different styles and different philosophies, it sort of comes down to that dynamic connection of stretch evolving into compression, going back into stretch, to more stretch, this constant connection, feeling the weight transfer and the body movement of the partner. And in the case of Matleena, I just feel her well, and we vibe on the same wavelength somehow. So it was a good match in my opinion, and I had a blast dancing with her this weekend. So I think that's what I was saying earlier, that you sort of still have to play within West Coast swing, and always pushing the boundaries, I'd say, or the limits of the dance. So stay true to the dance, but always get new ideas and always try to change things, get out of your habits, try to incorporate new stuff, and really think outside the box. I think this is the good way to put it.
Yeah, it impresses me when I see it. And for me, there was this YouTube video called West Coast Swing, the Dance of Your Life, which was the first eye-opener to me. But I saw you dancing to Mozart there, so I don't know if there are that many limits for this sport. But it really rewards people who have both a connection to the roots and a very open mind. So that's
Yeah, I
my
think
idea.
this is a good approach. Yeah, connecting to the roots and have new ideas and fresh ideas, definitely.
Let's watch the video for a third time. You
Yeah.
can comment after we watched.
Yeah, let's
If
comment.
the volume is quite high. So we'll watch it for the third time, and the third will be closest to the roots. It's the fast blues. And I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1, play. Cool. So you were actually, we could hear you on the video saying some things that we should keep our focus on: straight frame, smaller steps, and maybe keeping it more closed.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, you can have so many different approaches to dancing any style in West Coast Swing, and blues is no exception. It's just my way of doing it. I don't want to force my style onto everyone. It's just one option, one idea. I personally like that look when I dance to these kind of straight rhythm fast blues. That we have this kind of straight spine and a very floaty, very calm upper body. Not much movement in there. Just maybe a tiny bit of movement quality up there, and everything happens down in the feet. So I want to have small steps. I want to be kind of quickly on the 4 and then at the end of the slot, if that makes sense. Yeah, create that look of almost understatement in the dance. So like it looks easy. Of course, we know that West Coast Swing is an easy dance, right?
Of course.
Of course, very, very easy. So, yeah, a lot of footwork. Almost think of it like a little bit of a shag look sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, I was watching this video about the roots of West Coast Swing. It's a video by Robert Royston on YouTube.
It's a good video. Yeah.
He talks about these 4 different dances, and one was shag, where it's really focusing on the fast footwork,
Yeah.
and maybe more on the leader footwork part. And,
Yeah.
These dances came together and evolved further, and now we have the West Coast Swing we have now. It was awesome to dance to these fast blues songs. After
I'm
having a
glad
couple
you
of
liked
lectures here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have some good time in our local jam after this weekend.
Yeah, I feel like people shouldn't be afraid to play more fast blues and dance more fast blues. Again, it's my personal opinion. I love dancing to fast blues music, be it swing rhythm, not swing rhythm. I don't care. I personally love that kind of music. I get that music preferences are very subjective, and you know, every individual has her opinion, but I think that we should play more and dance more blues at socials, at parties, because in the end it is part of our dance, and it is a big part of our dance, and it doesn't mean that all the other genres should not be played. It's not a replacement. It should be an addition and making our dance more rich. So yeah, I definitely feel like people should dance more blues. But again, that's just my opinion.
We had interesting discussions about these music tastes with DJ Topi. Yesterday we shot a podcast like this one.
Mm-hmm.
But what would be your, like right now, your favorite songs to recommend to some jam DJ out there who is performing in a local jam and people are maybe want to get creative? And
Okay, honestly, I don't have a favorite song. That's a very, very tough question for me to answer. I do get asked these kind of questions all the time, like what's your favorite song, who's your favorite follower, what's your favorite dance? I don't really have any of these things, but what I can say is that I personally love diversity on the dance floor. So I want to hear slow contemporary. I want to see people dance to fast blues. I want to see some hip hop going on. Of course, as a DJ, you sort of have to hit the right mood, depending on the time as the evening stretches and stretches. But I think that we have to break out of that narrow-mindedness of playing the same things over and over again. You know, we advertise West Coast swing by saying, oh, you can dance it to literally any music, even Mozart, as we found out. And then we keep playing similar songs. You know how many people in West Coast swing complain about some other dance style, like, oh, yeah, I love that dance, but the music is always the same and it gets boring. Well, sometimes you go to a West Coast swing party and you hear the same music every time. So get some diversity in there. And then it's not that much about having a favorite song or not having a favorite song, but like fitting many tastes in there. And also giving people the opportunity to experience more styles and more songs. And I personally, I like that. So the more, the better.
Awesome. Listen, we are running out of time. I would love to do this again with you in any future event where our paths cross again.
Let's do that.
And
absolutely.
Thanks for this weekend. I'm going to remember this, and I have a couple of videos there to remind me. But that last thing we did, the hip-hop choreography, I don't know how I'm going to explain to my wife, but we just did there. But let's say all the guys gave their all.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. I never done anything like that before, and I had a blast. Thank you so much for being awesome. For real. It was great.